Peace and greetings, everyone. This is Ross Timotheos here again, bringing another video to you guys about spirituality and higher states of consciousness, spiritual growth, and yeah, to develop the spirit, to develop the knowledge of self. And I wanted to bring some information, kind of winging it today. Don't really have anything specific that I wanted to speak about, but the fact of the matter we will speak on will be about cannabis and it being a substance that is able to produce a state of consciousness or produce consciousness itself. Right? Some people may think I'm crazy by this, but I'm gonna keep going. And those of you who have used cannabis, whether it be in a religious sense or in the normal sense, and you may agree with some things that I'm saying. You know, hit a like or hit me a comment. You know, I want to see more people becoming more involved and understand cannabis in its many uses, including spirituality and spiritual states of consciousness. So, like I said, if you guys, find something interesting that I have to say, or see something that's similar to your own experiences, or you may see something in here, you may hear something that may be useful to you in your spiritual growth, by all means, implement these things into your practice. But let's speak about, cannabis and states of consciousness, or consciousness itself. My view on the plant in and of itself is that it comes from, it comes from the light, photosynthesis, which gives us other elements and things like that. But let's start with photosynthesis, right? Because photosynthesis has something to do with, light coming into the earth and the unification of that earth that's coming from the sun into, that light that's coming from the sun into the earth. When we start to realize the profound sacred understanding of just that action alone, this sun, coming into the earth, bringing life, bringing what is called photons. Now, these photons are very important. It's probably the number one aspect to a lot of things that I have to speak about. And so when we start to understand the sacred power of photosynthesis, we start to realize that, it's in a bigger, broader aspect of our lives. For example, so the light comes into the earth from the sun. If you research the esoteric meanings behind the earth, and then the esoteric meanings behind the sun, which you can find in the multi-literature that I have published. But if you go in and research this, even in Google, you'll begin to find and understand things in a better light, in the esoteric sense, as far as symbolism and what this symbolically means. So the fact of the matter is cannabis is a plant, whether you like it or not. And so cannabis is a plant that has been used for thousands of years, thousands of years. And this is probably one of the most important things to know about cannabis, is that it is a part of nature. It is a part of the light and the earth from seeds. Now, we know that if you ask yourself what produced seeds, my answer would be nature produces seeds, right? Think about it. Even human beings, we produce seed, to create seed in the likeness of that. But where does this come from? It comes from the light and it comes from the earth. Those are the two main principles. So once we understand these concepts as a spiritual consciousness, right, then we can realize things in a higher light. Then we can realize, Does cannabis actually allow or give man consciousness? Like I'm saying, we're dealing with the earth and we're dealing with the sun. And we're also dealing with the movement of the cosmos. Because most people don't understand, or what most people fail to realize, because you see, we were born into this earth. So this earth, yes, is our home. And so, but what I'm trying to say is most people get caught up in the earthly plane of existence, not realizing that the earth is part of a whole. The earth is part of a universe, part of a solar system, and that solar system is part of a universe, or a galaxy. And that galaxy is a part of many galaxies, which make up what we call the universe. So we are but a speck of light, whether it be dark light, hidden. It would be hidden if we were looking from the whole. They wouldn't be able to perceive human beings if we were looking at the whole of the cosmos. So when we start to look at who we are on a microscopic scale on Earth, we start to realize that there's a bigger reality already. At first look, we start to realize that there is a bigger reality that we cannot fully comprehend in the first understanding, which means that we need a perceptive experience in order to be able to, travel and understand the lengths of what I'm speaking about. So, man and woman is of the sun and the earth, is a seed of the sun and earth, is nothing more than a light particle being brought into existence on earth. So, what this signifies is consciousness. Light itself is conscious. What is consciousness? What does conscious mean? Conscious means to be aware. Conscious is a scientific word that means to be aware. To be aware of what? Well, to be aware of yourself and to be aware of your environment. So you can act and react in the proper way to keep you safe, so you can grow and, for you to be who you are, right? So you can, think of a baby coming into an environment, right? And having experience coming out of the womb, having consciousness. But, it's actually, we don't develop consciousness until we are, I think it's 7 years old, 12 years old. Between there, we haven't developed a certain consciousness yet, right? And it is until that time that we start to formulate a consciousness. Who am I? And then, what is this world around me? Who are these people in this world around me? You see what I'm saying? Light coming in from a higher particle into an existence. Consciousness coming from a realm which we can't perceive consciousness, but consciousness we experience, and we live in consciousness, whether or not we realize that we're conscious. So, but what does conscious mean? It means to be aware. But what does it mean in the spiritual sense? What does it mean, Ras Timotheos, when you say spirituality and cannabis? Well, what I mean by this is true spirituality. True spirituality. Not, someone claiming that religion or that cannabis is something to do with, you need this in order to do something else, and to do something else, and to do something else. I'm not going to go down those lines, but true spirituality refers to a state of mind, a consciousness that, relates man and woman. Remember, going back to the light that coming into the earth, that relates man and woman, or mind, because that's what we're ultimately dealing with here, is the mind. So mind is the incorporeal aspect of ourselves. So when we realize what we are through our awareness, it is through our perception. Now, we must research this. If you absolutely want to fully understand what I'm talking about, you must research these words. You know what I'm saying? To get a better understanding of, to stand over what we do not know, right? So we have to get a better understanding, but in order to do that, we have to gain knowledge. So that means we must listen and understand. So, and in order to do that, we have to put things into practice as well. So, true spirituality, dealing with the spirit. So I have to define what spirituality is and what consciousness is. But true spirituality refers to the consciousness that relates man and woman to their, what is known as the higher self. And it is also known as the universal perspective, the universal substance, the ultimate reality of what we perceive and what we know as reality. But what is the higher self? What is spirituality and what is consciousness? These three principles. Well, first of all, true spirituality or spirituality refers to spirit. Now, if you look up this word spirit, in the etymology, you'll begin to understand that this word comes from the word spirit, breath, right? So this word spirit also comes from the word breath, and it also relates to the word that means psyche, right? Or the word psyche, which means the mind. So when you start to understand spirituality and see language in and of itself, language is the ultimate demon, I would say, because it limits one's way of revealing their own mind, revealing the light within oneself. So if we are light, then true spirituality refers to the awareness, the consciousness, the awareness that involves the evolution of spirit, mind, and body, or that involves the realization of these three aspects of reality, these three aspects of our existence, which is the spirit, the vigor aspect of ourselves, the energetic, then you have the mental or the mind, and then you have the body. So the spirit is like the life force principle within us, also known as chi, also known as prana, those things. The mana, things like that. So the spirit is that substance that keeps us alive. From my perspective, cannabis activates this psyche, this spirit within the body. And that's why it's called psychoactive. A psychoactive substance, yes, because it's activating the psyche, the mind, the spirit, the soul, and allows man to evolve through the inspiration of the universe, of the information of the cosmos. Well, what does that mean, Ras Timotheos? Well, the inspiration, to inspire, in spirit, right? Spirit within, to inspire the divine mind, or to inspire consciousness, awareness of ourselves in our experiences, in our environment. This is what I mean by spirituality and consciousness. And cannabis as a substance to activate this consciousness, this spiritual consciousness. So what I mean by this is spirituality is a deeper reflection of ourselves than the universe as life and animation within the universe and of the universe. We're talking about the reflection of the universal perspective, or the ultimate perspective, the universal substance, the spirit within and of the universe, that which creates the universe, that which is beyond what created the universe, that which is the creator of the creator and the creator of that, and so on and so forth. Through the evolution of man, woman, and child, we can realize the spirit, mind, and body. The spirit, mind, and body is what involves the energy of the cosmos. And through that energy, it evolves to man, woman, and child. Plants, animals, minerals, things like that, the elements of nature. So who we truly are is found through this initiation or a deeper reflection of self within the universe as the life or the animating principle of that force, of that universe, in one verse, right? So it is through spirituality or breathing the spirit within, getting that spiritual inspiration through the activation of the information of consciousness through the plant known as cannabis. See, information means information, to form or do a process of formation. Energy going through a process of coming into formation to form what we know as the physical, tangible world. And that is in the what animates that is the spirit that is existing within it, but it's non-intangible. The body is a tangible representation of that which is non-tangible. So true spirituality involves, the mind and the body. And so it also involves the activation of the spirit, the inspiration of the mind, the inspiration of the body. And these things can be found, like stretching, that's inspiration of the body. It makes your body feel good and allows you to be more elastic. It allows you to, exercising allows you to build, not build muscle in a sense like this, but it allows you to gain that muscle to allow your bones and your tendons and your cells and your blood vessels, these things to be a little bit more elastic and to be able to grow and to build more cells. Now, on a mental level, it's dealing with the thought level. It's being able to build a better foundation in the thought. Just like how you exercise your body, it's the same thing with the mind. That's what I'm speaking about here is inspiration of the spirit. And I'm speaking about this can be done through the cannabis, right? So there are many people that use cannabis for many different things. But what I'm speaking about here is dealing with the inspiration of the spirit, the dealing with the life force chi within us, and we can even go to China and learn that. We can go to India and learn about the prana. We can go to Africa and learn about what prana and chi was before it was prana and chi. We can learn about that, how it transitioned into the Holy Spirit. Here in the West, we know that is the Holy Spirit. So, there's many terms, and this is why I say language is the evil, right? Because there's many terms that can be used for the substance, and the substance is that which never changes. The spirit is that which never changes, though the language changes into different culture. You go into research this stuff. So, like I'm saying, in order to really understand this, we must go beyond our limited perception of everything. It's not just about the cannabis plant, but to understand life, right? So, it's about realizing ourselves, consciousness. It's about realizing ourselves in a deeper reflection within the universe as life and animation of and in the universe itself, the cosmos. So it is through spirituality that the mind and body evolve in harmony with the laws of nature. And the laws of nature deals with the laws of God. Nature is another name for God, is a linguistic term for God, because nature, we cannot necessarily define what nature is, just like we cannot necessarily define what the mind is, just like we can't necessarily define what energy is. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. So that's a principle or a law of nature, or what we would consider God, through our limited perception. See what I'm saying? Because the elements are nothing more than principles or aspects of God. So, for example, when we call on certain names or different names of God, those are just describing different principalities of one specific energy or nature with many different principalities. So that's what the elements are. The elements of the cosmos, of the universe, that make up our body, that makes up the earth, that makes up the cannabis plant. The cannabis plant is made up of elements. Elements are elements. Allah, we know, deals with the masculine and feminine principles when you deal with language. So element means to be a process, and to come into formation. So element is the masculine feminine principles of creation that form in formation and come into formation. So a lot of it has to do with understanding the aspect of information. For example, information is the process of energy coming into formation. So when you get to understand that aspect of the spirit nature of things, the hidden nature of things coming into physical representation, then we can really understand what I'm speaking about here when I say cannabis has something to do with the activation of the deeper aspects or the deeper reflection of ourselves and who we truly are in the universe. And this has many benefits. It really does. It allows people to become healthy. Look at how many people have been starting to use cannabis I wouldn't say starting to use, because many people have been using this plant as a medicine, as a spiritual sacrament, regardless of any fucking law that man tries to make to keep another man from experience who he truly is, or ultimately putting laws against people, to keep people from putting things in their own body, experiencing with their own consciousness. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is spirituality involves partaking in the elements, this primordial information that comes into formation of the Mother Nature of the universe, and evolving into ideas of divine life force principle. Let me just explain this again. Spirituality involves partaking in the elements of Mother Nature and involving ideas of divine life force principle, or that spiritual substance within one's life. Now, when one does this, it becomes part of one's reality when we do this. So ultimately, the whole purpose of cannabis and spirituality, when one partakes of this sacrament in that term, then one is ultimately initiating themselves into the realm of this deeper reflection in that spiritual sense. Now, what does it mean by sacrament? Sacrament means sacred. Sacred comes from the word that means to sacrifice. So sacrifice what? And this whole word sacrifice, it's scary, right? Sacrifice means to give up something in return for something. Well, what does it mean in the spiritual sense? In the spiritual sense, sacrifice means to give up the lower, mundane sense of ourselves. Now, what does this mean, Rastin Mateos? Well, this means that when we give up our limited perception of things, we are opening ourselves up to the deeper reflection of self through the use of this cannabis plant in this manner. So this is what it's mean by spiritual use of cannabis. So that's why I say it doesn't necessarily involve taking a toke with your best friend, but in a sense, that is spiritual if you understand the science behind that. You see what I'm saying? But that the core understanding that I want you to walk away with is that spirituality comes out of the actions, the acts, which one takes in order to know the truth, to reality, to ourselves, to know the truth, and to have atonement or at-one-ment, harmony, union with this universal perspective of life. So it's about going beyond our limitations, right? It's going beyond our limited thoughts in our mind. We need inspiration to inspire our minds to go to the next level in our growth, whether it's in our physical lives or our spiritual lives or our mental lives, right? So What I'm saying is cannabis, just because of its nature, its godhood, its spirithood, the fact of that matter, every time you think of nature now, you would think of spirit, because that's the truth. Cannabis allows one to reflect in a deeper sense. Before I made this video, I partook in the sacrament. Why? Because I need that divine inspiration to keep me alive. Right now, it's like 9:16 a.m. in the morning. I'm up daily to do this stuff for you guys. I may not be able to get a video daily, and that's because I have other things that I have to do. Man, I produced 9 books, so I have to keep up with that alone, the information alone. So, with that said, we can continue speaking about this. For example, cannabis and spirituality goes in many ways. Before I even actually, let me just explain a little bit to you guys how I got into this stuff, like how I got into the spiritual understanding of this stuff. And to be honest with you, it's through that deeper reflection, it's through that inspiration. When I was about 12 years old, you know, I was initiated into the spiritual understanding of cannabis, you know, and that's how I'm gonna put it. And so, at a young age, I was able to gain a deeper reflection within self. But then, you know, as you progress and as you get older and older, you start to build, you know, your understandings about the world around you in the physical sense, you know, the limited sense. But not saying that that is a bad thing. I think we should all, you know, as far as getting information, and it's about getting the right information. But from my perspective, it was always about, you know, I never was the person to always speak and be out and open with people. Like, I'm usually casually the guy that, you know, is the one who listens, you know, and is back there, you know, chilling and listen to the conversation, and will get engaged when the conversation gets interesting and deep. But what is deep to me may not be deep to a lot of people, and what may be deep to a lot of people may be just on the surface for me. So we also have to take this into notion when we speak of the cannabis as well, because what may be a poison to me may be, you know, may be the most perfect health thing for you. You know, something that can make you healthy. It may be poison to me. So we have to realize this in many different senses. For example, I may like certain types of music, and you may like certain types of music. But that's not going to keep me away from knowing that you're a human being, and that you breathe, and that you think thoughts, and that you carry out your life. Just trying to gain knowledge of who you are and better your ways of living. I'm just that same person. You know, I have a family as well. I have, you know, a life to live as well. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people miss when they come to YouTube, and, you know, we listen to a lot of people talk about their life stories and things, and I feel that one thing we miss is that, man, we all come from, in a sense, the same place, and that's Earth, that's the cosmos, and we all, in a sense, carry out the same type of path. There's many paths, but I'm saying that we all carry out the same mode of existence. We all live in a city. We all live in, you know, some people live in the countryside, but at the same time, we're still all involved in life. We're still all involved in the reflection of self. Now, I have only a little bit of time left, about a minute, so I hope you guys got something out of this video. Like I said, if you guys did get something out of it, like it, comment. I want to see some more interaction. You know, I'm trying to make more videos because, I mean, like I said, I have these 9 books. Also, if you guys would like to check it out, purchase, help me out, you know, support what I'm doing, support the cannabis, you know, community, support the spiritual community, support, you know, all things that have to do with, you know, personal growth and developing your inner nature and the understanding of self. Whether or not it's in a deeper reflection, that's on you. So, peace.